Hi, and welcome to the Courage Made Simple podcast. I'm Margareta Kull, a mother of 3 courageous young women and a courageous leader trainer. For the past 20 years, I've helped hundreds of leaders from over 50 countries, from senior executives to aspiring change makers, find the courage to face challenges at work and at home. I know firsthand that leading isn't just about work. Whether it's guiding a team at work, setting boundaries at home, showing up for the people who matter most, or navigating other tough decisions, courage is essential in every part of life. It's how we become the people we want to be. This podcast is a space to explore the messy questions of being a leader at work and at home. Through insights, tools, and personal stories, we'll help you find your courage. If you're ready to move from feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or frustrated to becoming a more confident, capable, and courageous leader, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Before we dive in, I'd love to hear from you. What's a challenge or question you'd like me to explore in this podcast? Send me a DM on LinkedIn or Instagram at Margareta Kull. I'd love to hear your thoughts and answer your questions in future episodes. Today's guest is someone I've coached for many years, ever since he joined one of our Courageous Leader programs. Thomas is a courageous leader, a father, and a person who has lived with serious illness for most of his adult life. He's raised 2 children, built a new home, and held leading roles in business, while staying deeply committed to people and sustainability. This isn't a story about survival. It's about choice, about courage lived, not just talked about. And in this episode, we explore what that looks like when everything is uncertain and life shakes you to the core. Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
You and I have known each other for a long time. I've seen your strength, your clarity, your heart. But I also know there's so much behind that, moments that shaped you deeply. We're here today to talk about courage. Not the loud kind, but the everyday kind. The kind it takes to speak up, ask for help, and to stop pretending you're fine. You've said many wise things. One of them is that the brave thing isn't to try harder, but to end something that isn't working. Whether it's a treatment, a working relationship, or a belief. That's a difficult thing for many of us, especially leaders. I'm thinking, I had a question from a participant in one of our programs just the other day who was in a dilemma and asked me how to deal with the situation. And I shared some thoughts about acceptance. And I'm thinking, if we find ourselves in situations that we want to change, we actually have 3 choices. We probably have many more, but at the moment I can only think of 3. You either accept the situation as it is, or you change it, or you leave it. How do you know when something is no longer right for you?
For me, it's when I don't believe in it myself anymore. If I feel that that is the case, I need to make a new decision. Yeah, I think that's how I handle it.
So what's that moment like when you realize, I need to let this go?
I believe that I don't need to let it go, but I need to accept some things. There are changes that we can't do anything about or affect. The world is moving around us, so we have to accept and adapt and not give up, not let go, but to adapt and change. So I think that's the way I work with it.
Mm. Have you ever stayed too long And if that's the case, what did you actually learn from it?
Yeah, I've stayed too long many times, and it's really easy to see if you look in the mirror. Um, and I think that at least I accepted that I end up in those situations all the time, that I realize that I should have done this and this. And it's very easy to realize that when you have the truth, so to say.
Mm.
But I think it's what I learned is that it's okay to actually stay too long sometimes, and but it's also important to let go and make a change when you realize that that's the case.
You know, when you talk about that, Thomas, it reminds me of something. So many managers complain about some of their managers reporting to them. So I'm talking about senior executives having middle management reporting to them, for example.
Yeah.
And they process and they process and they process to let these people go, but they don't take action. And there's fear involved, for sure. And they have all these excellent explanations. And finally, many of them make the decision to move this person that is a poor manager. Most of them, if not all of them, discover that the situation is much worse than they thought it was. They have been definitely holding on for too long, and it's very costly to businesses. That was just a thought.
Yeah.
Many organizations want to create a feedback culture, but they don't seem to be able to create it. So let's talk about feedback. You've said that feedback is about generosity, not evaluation.
No.
Many people avoid difficult conversations. I can see myself doing it. What's your experiences from that?
Oh, I avoid tons of difficult conversations, and but feedback requires, of course, a respect between the two participants, and that you are ready to receive the feedback and give the feedback in a good way, and you can prepare that, of course. But I think that I learned that if I feel a fear of taking a discussion that I need to do, if you give a feedback that I need to do, then it's so very important that I do it. There is something there that I really need to. I just can't let go.
You've even told me you're searching for difficult conversations.
Yeah, yeah. Certainly, if there's something that I'm afraid of, I know I have work to do. And I mean, if you're gonna take a discussion with someone that they maybe need to use deodorant more, or something else, something very personal, that's a very awkward thing. But there are people walking through the whole working life without getting that feedback, and that's horrible. So seek the things that are hard, and you will get a result. So
It's also about showing people that they matter and not just say, when you want to give what we call positive feedback, if there is a negative
yeah,
feedback, I'm not so sure, and not just saying, thank you if you're grateful
yeah,
for something, but actually give an explanation why you're grateful.
yeah, yeah. I think that's something that I learned, that just saying thank you is, of course, that's nice, but saying thank you for helping me out with this, it had this result, or it had this effect, and that will give you even more focus and understanding on how your feedback will actually make your organization stronger.
Mm. When we talk about feedback, you and I, we always, as in all our conversations, we bring up the defenses.
Yeah.
And we laugh at others and at ourselves, mainly at ourselves, to be honest.
Yeah.
And two of the comments or the defenses, I should say, that we hear giving feedback is one of them could be, someone else should be doing this.
Yeah.
Why isn't someone else doing that? Or that department should be doing that or something. That's one defense. I'd just love to hear your short experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also another one, which is that's the way I am.
Yeah.
What are your experiences?
Yeah. Those two are, I mean, those two are, I'm grateful when I hear them because it's a signal that those are two red flags. I mean, that's a signal that here is something I need to work with. Either if I express myself in that way, or if I hear someone around me express themselves in that way. I mean, if I say someone should do whatever it is, it's a red flag that I see something that I should do something about. I maybe even have a solution.
And
And
it may even be saying, which I know you've said, someone else doesn't work here.
yeah, exactly. That's as I said. I looked through all our records, and we have no one employed called someone here. So we just have to deal with it ourselves.
You've lived through two parallel experiences, leading teams, which, create results, and leading your own health journey. What have you brought from one world into the other?
Also, good question. I think no matter if it's in business or in other situations, I think it's very important to be around working team and to have everyone understand and feel why we're doing something, to find a common why. And if there is someone that is not on track, make them come on board or get another player into your team or into, like, in the healthcare system. If there was someone that I met that I felt I did not have confidence with, or that were not willing to do what was needed, I had to act to get another player on board and not just wait.
Yeah,
So
my guess is that you also tried to get that person on board by explaining why this was important.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and the why is extremely important, and I think also it's something we work with too little in our communication. And you have to see the context and use for you to act in a different way, or to act in a way that often that you need to do, but you might stick to, like, how we normally do things. Or, well, maybe you even have to break some regulations sometimes.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You remind me of something, and that is that when we are to change things, like we normally need to change our behavior, it's outside of our comfort zone. Otherwise, we would already have that behavior, but it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, to get someone, to lead someone to be prepared to leave their comfort zone, they need to know why they should.
Yeah.
And then I think I could, I could talk about myself. I could talk about us. I could, it's not like I'm any different. Why should I do that? Comes up pretty automatically when someone wants you to leave your comfort zone. When you look at your own behavior, and you look at your own old self, what would surprise your old self the most today when you think about your own behavior?
And the old, you mean like before my illnesses and so on, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd call you your old self now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not what I meant. No,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. No, but
the young
I
Tom.
think I think that Uh, I would be surprised that I actually learned to be able to go in and out of different roles, and roles might not be the exact word, but to go in and out of like extreme, not danger, but extreme pressure and fear when you work with your health, and to be able to go out of that and enjoy a good cup of tea and a chat with your kids, so that you get rest from the extreme situations. And I think many people that work in extremely stressful environments, they have to do that. They have to learn how to deal with that, for example. I think we have a lot to learn from that.
You once said, when I got sick, it all became real. There were no retakes anymore.
Yeah.
You've lived with cancer for many years, but life didn't pause. You've still been a leader, a parent, a colleague, a human in movement. How has illness shaped the way you show up in those different roles?
Yeah. Well, like you said, I lived with cancer for many years. I had my first cancer when I was 18. Then I had a new cancer 9 years ago, and well, I'm 50 now. So if you want to do some calculations, but and since then I had 10 more different cancer types. So I'm up now to 11 different cancers, not connected to each other, and which is, I think, at least a Swedish record. so, but I
They
think
all
that
connected. They all connected, Thomas. They all connected to you.
yeah, they are, and it's. I mean, we all know, and we all fear, and have in our lives in some way. Ourselves or family or colleagues or friends that are affected by cancer. So it's a word that really sets your fear going, and I just had to learn how to find a way to live with that. Of course, it is a journey living with that.
So I'm thinking, Thomas, you know, it must have affected you and the people around you. So both at work and at home with your children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, always.
how has it shaped you as you, if you think of yourself as a leader at work and of course as a leader at home in your relationships or yeah, how you show up?
Mm. For me, it's been very important to stay open with what's going on and what's happening and so on. And I think that helped me also as a leader to be able to be honest. Also, it's important to find, to be honest, in the right way to adapt to the situation. I mean, my children were, I think, 8 and 10 when I had my first cancer in the second round, so to say. And it's very different how you communicate with someone that's 8 and someone that is 40. I mean, but you still have to communicate, and you have to be honest, and you have to think about what you're saying.
What do you think was hardest?
I think the hardest was the feeling that you were hurting people around you, or I was hurting people around me, and was hurting my children with just the fact that what was going on, and to tell someone something that you know is going to hurt them. That's horrible.
Yeah, I'm thinking when you say that, I'm thinking you need to handle your own fear at the same
Yeah.
time as you need to handle other people's fear. People who are very close to you who
I think if you compare it to like a work situation, if you have to let people go, that's a horrible situation that you can end up in as a leader, and you can be forced to handle that because you need to do it, not because
no.
otherwise the company will go under, for example, and you have to let people go that you really don't want to let go. But you still have to take the conversation and you still have to be honest and find a way to do it in the right way. And I think there's a lot of similarities in a lot of situations. I think there is a lot to learn.
Thomas, you've said something really powerful. You've said, no one can know how I feel. I have to take responsibility for that myself.
Did I say that? Sounds smart.
It's really wise, isn't it? And as we know, it's one of these things that's easily said, but not so easily done.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's so interesting. That's the main reason it's so interesting to talk to you about it, because I'm curious to hear what that actually looks like for you
Yeah.
in your life.
It's one of those things that I've learned, actually got my house on when I went through your program many years ago. Just the concept of choice that we have, and it's been crucial for me in the situation that I am in. I don't give up, and to realize that even if I'm a person that have a very serious illness, I still have to choose if I see myself as a Thomas, the sick person, or Thomas that are sick but are also a parent and are also a leader, or well, I still have my life, and that's been crucial for me to have not only a longer life but to have a meaningful life. So that concept of choice is very, very powerful.
I want to bring you back to a moment in the training,
Yeah, yeah,
which I'm pretty sure you remember. Do you remember when we presented the concept of choice
yeah,
as a possibility, an opportunity?
yeah,
And in that long statement or
yeah. Different levels within you.
different
Yeah,
perspectives,
yeah. Different
Mm.
perspectives. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember.
there was one sentence that I
Yeah.
believe triggered you a bit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you remember what it says, or should I say it to you?
I think I remember it because it was one thing that really, really provoked me at the time. Wasn't it something like you choose your own illnesses? And of course, at that time, I had already had my first cancer, as I said, that I had when I was 18. And it really provoked me. And like, what do you mean?
Happened. What actually happened to you, physically or mentally?
Yeah, well, I got into my defense mode, which is attack, a favorite that I have. And so I think I challenged you what you meant with that sentence too. So we had some discussions, and I realized that it was something that happened in me and triggered me, and that made me very interested in what was going on inside of my in my thoughts.
Mm.
And today, I actually, I totally agree because I don't choose to have cancer or not. That's not the point. I choose how I meet that thing. that's the big difference. And the concept of choice is extremely powerful in that way. So I choose not to identify myself as sick, the Thomas that is sick. I choose to identify myself as Thomas, as before, and that really helps me.
Yeah, it's amazing to be able to follow you on your journey and see what approach you use to life. I want to take this opportunity and actually share a few things about the concept of choice to our listeners. So, because I find it important that they don't misunderstand the
Yeah,
concept of
yeah,
choice, because it is presented in as you're saying, a pretty provocative way with many different perspectives. The reason is that we want to encourage people to challenge their minds and leave their comfort zone. And then at the end of all those long discussions and processes that take place there in that part, we always remind them that the concept of choice is an approach to life. It is not something we say they should have or should not have. It is not something that can be proven in research and been made a fact. It is just something you can you can choose to live by or not to live by. And I think it's important, therefore, that it contains provocative statements, because otherwise we just go, yes, of course, we can choose our behavior or whatever. Yeah. And you grabbed that opportunity. That's for sure.
yeah. And as I said, it's been a way forward for me. I can really enjoy it actually.
Let me say a few things about two of our favorite topics, Thomas.
Yeah,
And they are fear and defenses.
yeah, the good ones.
Good ones. Well, we all have them, unfortunately. And we will never have solved them completely. That's for sure. So we might as well process them. We all have fears. So it's not like there's a person walking this earth that's fearless. Courage is not about being fearless, because that's impossible. We all have fears and we're going to have them in the future. What's important to us is to be able to handle them so we can manage what's the situation we're in. And it's therefore also interesting to explore defenses, because defenses are connected to our fears.
Also, that your own fears, what you use to yourself, as we often talk about. That
That's so
the
true.
yeah,
Because it's the fears that trigger the defenses.
yeah,
But the defenses can be the signal. Oh, the fear can also be the signal.
yeah,
But the fear of the defenses can definitely be a signal. And underneath the defenses is the fear. So if you want to have good relationships and good collaborations, getting to know your defenses and your fear is really powerful. So let's talk about defenses. What are your favorite defenses, Thomas?
uh, I mean, the ones I use the most.
I mean, some of the ones you use.
Yeah, well, for me, I learned that I'm very I'm very fond of the critic,
Mhm.
and I use it in a way, in a very offensive way,
What
and
did you say in a very
offensive in an active way. I mean, you can be a passive critic. You
it
can
could be
be an active
silent
critic.
critic?
Yes, yeah. But I use it in a very active way, and I talk a lot, as you know, and I can get tired all
That's
of a
the
sudden.
sudden loss of no, sorry, it's not. It's the sudden tiredness.
I have one really important or meaningful moment when it really meant a lot to me to have knowledge that I easily used to critic, and that was actually when I had my first cancer. No, the second time, so to say, 9 years ago, and there was a cancer, a muscular cancer that you really need to have a surgery as soon as possible. That's the main possibility to be able to handle the cancer. That you get the surgery as soon as possible. And I ended up in a situation where I was going to get a an appointment for a surgery, and I didn't get a reply. And doctor actually, I found out, gone on vacation and cut the day short instead of answering me. And I got scared, of course, and angry. And I decided to go to the hospital and not uh, accept the situation, which I think was a very good decision. On the way into the hospital, I got a phone call when I was just passing through the front door, and it was you that called me, and it's gonna ask me how I was doing, and I told you shortly what happened, and I still remember because I felt that I wasn't gonna leave the hospital without having an appointment for a surgery, and you said to me, "Remember your defenses. Remember your critic." And I mean, I immediately knew what you meant because if you, I mean, you can use your defenses in a positive way also, which I mean, the critic can be a positive thing as long as you can handle it and keep it to an okay level. So this turned out that I went up to the department there where and I was I managed to handle my feelings and my critic, and I was very clear and very in the way I expressed myself, and did not accept anything than having an appointment for a surgery, which I was very clear in, but I didn't go further than I needed. So I had help from the staff, and um, and it ended up with a meeting with a surgeon and two other staff, and I left the hospital at 15:30 or something like that. I think they didn't plan on doing that. I left, and I had actually an appointment a week after. And I'm 100% sure that that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been able to control my defense system,
Mm.
and it created a very positive way forward, and a very good connection with the staff that understood my my fear, and I was scared, and they understood, and they handled it professionally because I was professional towards them.
Mm. Thank you, Thomas, for your honesty, your clarity, and the way you live what we're all trying to learn. Our conversations are important to me, and I think they will stay with our listeners too. You make a real difference. Before we wrap up, think about this. What's one small courageous action you can take today? And then remember to grab your free guide to the Courageous Leader process. It's a simple way to see how the 4 steps fit together and start applying them today. You can download it at carriagemadesimple.com/free guide. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might find it valuable. You can DM me on LinkedIn and Instagram at Margareta Kull, or visit our website at courageous-leader.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts and answer your questions in future episodes. That's it. Thank you for listening. Dare to make a difference. Before we wrap up, here is the legal bit. You know the fine print I need to mention. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. I'm just your companion on this journey. I'm not a licensed therapist, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals.